obviously. After the first round, his eye was bothering him. You could see that he got hit. Justin just kept busting him up the next couple of rounds. Yeah. And Ilia really wanted to continue. I actually think he probably won that round, too. His corner, I think, stopped the fight. Props to them.
Ilia Topuria is so good, and he had him in sick trouble in that second round. I watched it again yesterday. The second round was brutal. I mean, Ilia was just destroying his liver. But even in the second round, Justin, he still bloodied Ilia up. His face was busted up. Like, he was getting the most damage to Ilia's face, and that was a giant factor in the fight, because everybody who he's fought has said he's one of the hardest guys that's ever hit them, including Khabib, who's, one of the all-time greats. What's being reported is that he had 2 broken orbital bones and a broken nose. So both his eyes were broken and his nose was broken. And Justin was here a couple days later and he looked great. But sometimes a loss is like one of the most important things a fighter can ever have, because they realize like you can be beat. You can't just throw caution to the wind sometimes. You just engage in these wild scraps. You have to be a little bit more tactical. You got to realize like you can't take everybody out. And that's the case with Justin. He couldn't take him out. He almost did.
The official medical report painted a far more alarming picture than most fans had anticipated. In the aftermath of his 4th-round TKO defeat to Justin Gaethje at the White House event, Ilia Topuria was confirmed to have sustained fractures to both orbital bones. The diagnosis immediately shifted the conversation from the result itself to the difficult recovery ahead, leaving the MMA world wondering how this setback could impact one of the sport's biggest stars moving forward.
The pressure fight. Oh, my head, he hurt him. I mean, Ilia's face is just destroyed.
We literally had him get out of the octagon before the hand was even raised and sent him to the hospital.
During the UFC Freedom 250 main event, Ilia Topuria reportedly suffered fractures to both orbital bones, with injuries impacting each side of his face. According to a medical update shared by MMA reporter Alvaro Colmenero, the fractures were classified as non-displaced, meaning the bones stayed in proper alignment despite the damage. Even so, the trauma around his right eye was reportedly more significant, making that side the greater concern as attention quickly turned toward his recovery.
Big knee bite to the body. That was
Because the orbital fractures were non-displaced and the bones stayed correctly aligned, doctors reportedly determined that surgery would not be necessary. Considering how brutal the injury looked as the fight unfolded, that was viewed as the best-case scenario under the circumstances. Even so, escaping surgery doesn't make the damage any less serious. In mixed martial arts, orbital fractures are typically the result of powerful, direct shots to the eye socket, the exact kind of devastating punches Justin Gaethje has built his reputation on throughout his career.
The world, Justin!
Just because he beat me. Know what I mean? Which, to be honest, that might have played a part in it. Know what I mean? The fact I hate Ilia and the fact that Justin beat me and I like Justin, that might have played a part. Gaethje to get you into that dogfight, dragged you into it. Know what I mean? And Ilia's never had that. Ilia's never had to come back from adversity. Ilia's only ever been the hammer. He's never been the nail. Know what I mean? That's why I don't think Ilia Topuria ever comes back the same. His whole mantra, his whole ego. Know what I mean? Like his is like, I'm undefeated, no one can beat me. Having celebrations the night before the fight. I just don't think he'll ever be the same. He's never had to come back from nothing like that. I've had to face adversity before. So nothing can prepare you for it. That's the thing. And that's why I don't think he'll ever come back the same. Nothing can prepare you for it. But we'll find out what sort of man he is if he does come back and when he does come back. Because, as I say, I've been there before. I've been beat. Know what I mean? And I've had to come back stronger every time, and I have done. He's never been beat. He's never had to do this before. He's gonna have to look at himself in the mirror and be like, "What? I've just got my head smashed in. I need to come back." And you never know. He might not.
Many fighters believe Justin Gaethje accomplished far more than simply handing Ilia Topuria a defeat. They argue he dragged Topuria into a kind of fight he had rarely been forced to endure throughout his career. For years, Topuria had been the one controlling the tempo, walking opponents down, and dictating every exchange. But against Gaethje, that familiar advantage slowly began to disappear. Rather than taking command from the opening rounds, Topuria was pushed into a grueling contest that demanded patience, tactical adjustments, and unwavering composure under relentless pressure. That's exactly why Paddy Pimblett believes this setback could become the defining moment of Topuria's career. In his eyes, the true measure of a champion isn't the defeat itself, it's the response that follows when they're forced to overcome real adversity for the very first time.
that he has 2 fractured orbitals and a broken nose. Just that alone, just the orbitals alone, like anytime you've got eye injuries, like anything severe with your eyes, long-term consequences vary. You know,
It's psychological.
Absolutely.
And
your
physical.
body heals.
And physical.
The body is resilient.
Like, I'm telling you, I had
broken bones make stronger bones. Like that is his orbital bones will be stronger.
It
they will
depends
be
on where,
calcified.
though, Justin. The orbital bone, I had my orbital broken, and for 6 months I would do this and my tooth would move, and it's right where my sinus cavity is. You remember when you hit me with the spinning elbow?
Your tooth would move,
dude.
when you push
right
on
here,
your cheek,
and my tooth would move.
As the dust settled after the event, attention rapidly moved away from the outcome of the fight and toward the injuries Ilia Topuria was left to overcome. Among the many setbacks a fighter can face, facial injuries are considered some of the most difficult, not only because they demand a lengthy recovery, but also because they can affect a fighter's confidence, timing, and willingness to absorb or exchange strikes once they return to the octagon. Veterans who have battled through similar injuries often say the physical recovery is only half of the journey. Rebuilding trust in your instincts and confidence under fire can take even longer. Even so, the mission never changes. Heal completely, come back stronger, and continue chasing greatness inside the cage.
And that's it.
It's seeing a little bit the future now. We have for you, obviously, your next fight as a fighter coming up. But we also, before we will talk about that, you also have your brother who will fight in the White House. You as a head coach against Gaethje.
Yes.
What do we think about this? It's not actually a super fight. I need to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted to see like something, I don't know, Islam or somebody like have like this obvious super fight.
Yes.
What do you think?
So first of all, what I want to say that I think we have to put some more respect to Justin Gaethje. Yeah, first of all, because he's a dangerous guy. You cannot look at him like, for sure, I believe in my brother. Even if you ask me how the fight gonna end, I think everybody know the answer. What I will say, because not just because he's my brother, because that the styles make the fight, and the style Justin Gaethje have, Ilia is El Matador for that style, for every style, but especially for people who want to fight. He's El Matador, yes. So, but I never ever underestimate Justin Gaethje. So, yeah, in this case, I'm speaking about Justin Gaethje, but the reality is that I don't underestimate anybody. Anybody. Even if I fight with somebody like 2 categories less, 3 categories less, you don't underestimate anybody, because he have 2 hands, 2 legs like you know. So, yes.
In the hours following the event, the conversation began to change. Instead of focusing solely on the outcome, fans and analysts turned their attention to the injuries Ilia Topuria had suffered and what they could mean for his future. Facial injuries are widely regarded as some of the most challenging obstacles in combat sports, not just because they require extensive healing, but because they can alter a fighter's confidence, instincts, and split-second reactions once they step back into the octagon. Many seasoned competitors who have endured similar setbacks insist that repairing the body is only one part of the process. The tougher battle is often rebuilding the mental confidence to compete without hesitation, and that can take far longer than the physical recovery itself. Even with those challenges ahead, the objective remains unchanged. Heal completely, return stronger, and continue the pursuit of greatness.
He's doing good, tough kid, obviously, after the first round, his eye was bothering him. You could see that he got hit. And at one point he started covering his eye like this and was kind of, messing with it. And then, Justin just kept busting.
Topuria is going to need time to recover mentally, emotionally, and physically. He's never lost before. This is going to take some to overcome. One of the things that was Topuria's greatest weapons, greatest strengths, greatest traits, besides his overall ability and technically be sound, and he was a full package. He really was. Talent-wise, technique, everything. But one of the things foremost that leads the way for all those things to mean something is he has supreme.
In the aftermath of the fight, the biggest question wasn't about the rankings or whether an immediate rematch would happen. The real concern became whether Ilia Topuria could make a full recovery, both physically and mentally. Dana White indicated that the damage may have started much earlier in the fight than many viewers initially recognized, suggesting the injuries had been building long before the final stoppage. At the same time, renowned trainer Teddy Atlas pointed to an even more difficult obstacle waiting ahead. For a champion who had never tasted defeat, the first loss leaves more than physical scars. It can challenge the self-belief that carried them to the top in the first place. Recovering from broken bones is one battle, but rebuilding the confidence of an unbeaten champion may ultimately become the greatest test Topuria has ever faced.
He wants to hurt your face. Literally watching Gaethje train one time will make you understand that he is something special. He is something to be respected. I don't care how clean your technique is. If you don't put him away, he is a problem. He's gonna just pound.
What sets Justin Gaethje apart from so many other fighters is the relentless style he brings every time he steps into the cage. He's not simply trying to edge out rounds on the scorecards. His goal is to break his opponent's rhythm, force costly mistakes, and turn every exchange into a brutal test of endurance, both physically and mentally. Against Ilia Topuria, that pressure never eased for a single moment. As the rounds unfolded, the punishment steadily mounted, and concerns about Topuria's condition became more noticeable with each passing minute. By the time the fight came to an end, the conversation had grown far bigger than the official result. Fans, analysts, and fellow fighters were focused on the visible toll the war had taken, with Topuria's injuries becoming one of the defining stories to emerge from an unforgettable night inside the octagon.